Okay, we're going on live.
Thank you. I'll call this meeting to order. We do have all four selectmen here, so we have a quorum. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Amendments to the agenda. I'm going to add one to the beginning of action and discussion items for the Historic District Commission. Are there any other amendments to the agenda tonight?
Not that I know of.
Public comment. Any public comment this evening? Okay. Consent agenda.
I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Action and discussion items. Historic District Commission.
Okay, here, you want me to?
Can you pass the
Oh, all right. Thank you. We're here tonight really for two reasons. Mary Fallon and Anita Sellers from the Historic District Commission. First of all, I guess we wanted to express our concern about Paul Bain's departure. And just kind of to say that what an extremely help he's been to us in the Historic District Commission, getting ourselves going and with the survey that we're doing now, and really have some concerns about the positive impact he's had, both as a codes officer who's following the codes and maybe making some folks not happy about that, but following the codes for the buildings in town, and with the planning board and the comprehensive planning committee and our Historic District Commission, the knowledge and how qualified he is and what he brings to all of those groups up and running and doing things now really have a positive impact on town, and we're kind of concerned about losing that asset, and just would.
I think that we share your disappointment as well.
Yeah, and if there's any way at all to think about reaching out to him and to see if there's anything at all that can be done, we would encourage that and support it. But that was one thing that we came about, and I'll let Anita and Mary add anything they want to. The other thing had to do with, I think you all may know that we're kind of in the middle now of doing a photographic survey of some of the historic structures in town, and we decided to do all of those before 1900 and create an archive, and then use that information as some educational things in town. And what the process for that, what has happened is that we've got a group of community members involved in this, which is really nice.
And trained.
And continuing training. Yeah, they've continuing training. Have gone out and done we've kind of divided it in half, and they've gone out and taken photos, have half, and then we meet as a group to complete forms about all the historic aspects of the structure of those individual homes or churches or that kind of thing. And Paul meets with us when we do that, and we kind of depend on his knowledge of historic architecture and whatnot. Would have a pretty difficult time doing it totally by ourselves. And so the other thing we hear about is we'd like to be able, we have $500 for training in the 2017 budget, and we'd like approval to maybe use that to have him come and continue to work with the group. It would be continuing training with this group, and whatever we need to do to make that happen, we'd like to do that so that he could continue to help us with the survey project that we're doing right now.
Can I jump into you, Mike?
Yeah, no.
One of the things that I think, that the reason the three of us feel really strongly and wanted to come and talk to the Board of Selectmen is that the gentleman that came in to speak with us extensive experience and knowledge about historic homes and historic towns, and sees Durham as a unique setting, having a huge number of historic homes that represent, historical artifacts, and a town that grew in a really short period of time and then didn't grow for a long while. And so it presents a unique historic case. And so for us to try to gather together as much information and inventory the historic homes and structures in town and have that meet a certain criteria so that it could be translated across, even outside of Durham, and be used in some other measurable way. Paul was invaluable. I mean, as a builder, as a historic architectural buff, he just knows so much about the homes that to us as a bunch of sort of fledgling people trying to do this work, he really was able to guide us and help us identify eras when houses were built and to see the historic integrity of them and understand whether or not they would be important to catalog and keep track of. And just to jump back to the previous points, as we move forward with the comprehensive plan, one of the things that Paul brings that I think is unique in a code enforcement officer is the fact that not only is he knowledgeable about the codes and making certain that the houses that are being built or improved meet those and, comply with the ordinances and the regulations, that protects the town. But he also was doing things like showing us how much building was happening and sort of getting us to think about zoning in a different way, getting us to think about the town as an invaluable resource, and that if we just keep on building and building and building without really any plan, we're going to hurt ourselves as a town. And I found that, having a voice like that on a committee like ours, but even on the comprehensive plan as we move into the future, is just like incredible. And to let it go.
I feel a little bit, we didn't let Paul go. Paul voluntarily chose not to continue to work here, and we would have loved him to stay. We can't rescind something that we didn't do. So it puts us in a tough position. I absolutely appreciate coming and advocating. I wish that those decisions had turned out differently as well, but
you're making that sound like a final decision. Is it? Does it need to be?
Well, it was final on his part. He's the one that left. We didn't ask him to
I
leave.
know,
Paul
but
resigned. It's
there
not
must
in
have been good
limbo
reasons for him to leave.
There may be, but he didn't give any to us.
We don't need to get into personnel. I mean, we don't want to
but
do that.
But as far as that, I just want to make sure that everybody's clear. We didn't.
Yeah, but
didn't terminate him. We did a great job too.
But I mean, is there any way that the selectmen could, reach out to him and communicate, even if it's that people have come forward to say that this is a huge loss to the town, is really what we're asking. Because we would hate to see him, for the town to lose him. I mean, especially as we move forward with all of these other things that are going on.
Well, Paul didn't even see this through. He started it, and he came for us and asked for something. Then he didn't even see it through. He didn't even wait till the town meeting. He didn't even wait till the people on the floor could talk for him or nothing. He didn't want to go that far. So it must be personal reasons on his side, I would imagine, the reason that he must have gave his resignation. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you. I didn't speak to him, but he didn't even see this through. And by all means, we can reach out and say, Paul, these people really miss you. I mean, by all means, I don't know, but
We wished you would do that.
Yeah, we
If,
would
uh,
love it if you did that.
if it changed his mind, then we got to go the whole procedure to go in front of the town. I imagine again after that. But like I said, he didn't even see this through, so it must be a personal reason on his side why he didn't follow through with it. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you, to be honest with you.
I mean, and the way he left was pretty abrupt, so,
Yes.
I mean, in order to even consider trying to bring him back, if that was a
On the
chance,
table.
we'd have to discuss that, because he kind of
sure.
just left.
Right.
No, we understand that. And
Yes, absolutely.
But we're here, we're just here to really, to get you to, I guess, talk amongst yourselves and consider, whether or not reaching out to him in some way and see if there was anything that we could do to get him to kind of reconsider his
There
decision.
may be other people out there as well.
I
I
certainly.
mean, I don't know, I mean, he had he was unique in some things, but, I mean, he can't be the only one out there if, in the event that he's uninterested in even talking. You know what I mean? There's gotta be others. I mean, every town has codes.
Yeah, but I'll tell you,
town planners and
I
stuff.
used the other code enforcement officer, and we made some significant building changes at my place, and he never even came over. I mean, I just don't want, my fear is that we're in the middle of a huge couple of initiatives here that have a long-lasting impact on the health of the town, and I just want to make sure that we're equipped with the best possible professionals to do this.
Absolutely, and it is something that we are discussing, that we are at this sort of point of transition in terms of the town and the comprehensive plan and all of those things, and we are making every effort to both figure out what that position looks like, code enforcement planner, all of those different things, and really put together what a useful and effective job description for that position is going to be, and to fill that position. So we are definitely aware that there is a gap that is going to need to be filled.
Aren't you concerned about the problem, the old adage, switching horses in midstream?
What's the adage?
Well,
Yeah, but like we said-
the fact that we've reached this point with Paul, and he knows so much, and now you're gonna bring in somebody new,
No,
and you're gonna have
it's
to.
not.
there's gonna
That
be a
wasn't
big
our
education.
option.
That wasn't our choice.
Our choice. It was,
We're aware of that. but
and, yes, I would have loved to go through this whole thing with Paul as our codes officer, because he started it, he was working the way through it and so on. But when he chooses to resign and so on, it kind
no
of leaves
notice.
us without an option at that point. And I mean, maybe we can ask, but
It'd be great,
the
you know,
way
it would
the
be
way the
great.
resignation happened, I think it would be very unlikely that we can get him back.
We have
But-
some shorter term, we have people that were in the middle of building projects that have open permits and those kinds of things that, we've got to sort of deal with the short term
Right.
hires as well.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair to those people.
Right.
So we have a lot, it presents us with a fair amount of work to do.
Right. Well, and I don't know. I guess the way I would look at it is, yeah. I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of it. But if you view him as a valuable asset, and it sounds like you do, and you see him as adding to the continuity of ongoing projects and future initiatives for the town, I guess I just urge you to consider just reaching out and finding out if there's any possibility of having him return, just because, and even if it's a short-term thing, come back, and if you're unhappy, we understand that, but, help us through this project, this comp plan, work with the historic district, get everything settled, and then we understand that you'll be, looking for another position, but just kind of explore it. We're, as citizens, I can't call him on the phone and say, Paul, come back, even though I was devastated when I found out he wasn't going to be here anymore. But you guys are, our representatives, and we really care about all of these things being done well, and that's the reason we came, for whatever it's worth, which might be nothing, but.
Say that, Mary.
Thank you.
No, it's not nothing, but
But next to it.
we'll have to discuss that. No, it's not next to nothing,
Okay.
but
No, it's-
it's, we'll have to discuss that amongst it, because like I said, the way it happened, there's,
No,
Right.
I
We
totally get
It's just
it.
one of
I
them-
totally get
Yeah.
it.
We do.
We get it.
Definitely.
But he's a real asset.
And I think an unusual combination of skills, which.
Planning
that-
and code enforcement,
And the historic architecture. I mean,
Absolutely.
that not everybody's gonna have that, not that that's at the top of the list, but
But it's
the
important.
unusual combination of
Right.
skills too,
Yeah.
so. Okay. And I guess you'll let us know about whether, after you do some talking, whether we can use some of that money to contract with him, have him as a consultant, help us finish the photo survey. It'd be really difficult to do it without his expertise.
And if he's willing to do it, we don't even know.
Yeah.
He might say, no, I'm all done, retired, or whatever, I don't know. But I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Have you guys reached out to the Maine Historic Preservation Commission?
That's the
We've been
person,
working
that's
with
the
them.
guy that's been training us.
Yeah.
Do they have some resources you could tap into?
For a lot more money than maybe
lot
what
more
it's
money.
gonna cost us to have Paul do it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Comprehensive Plan Committee? Thought I was taking a tongue lashing. Thought I was getting a tongue lashing.
Sure? Sure. All right, so, how much time can we have? Literally, you tell me and I'll make it happen.
How much time do you need?
Not much. You
Okay.
guys are willing to
It's up
like.
to you. It's what you
go.
guys
Yeah,
want to give
that's what
us, so.
So let me give you, that said, what we have is, we're representing the Durham Conservation Commission plan. My name is Steve Sinisi. This is Saren Sinisi, my wife. This is our first of probably-
Steve and
Saren.
Saren.
Like serendipity.
SCREN. So this is the first of many, hopefully, reach outs to you guys as we go through what we're starting to do with the plan and the community and all this, coming and talking to you guys as well. But like, some of you were at that meeting that we had, but we felt also one of the things that has been big for me is this whole community outreach and getting to as many people as possible, especially this visioning time we're having. So some of you will find this redundant if you were at that meeting, but we're basically here with 3 questions. And I just want you guys to throw at us what comes to mind with those immediate questions. And it doesn't have to be, that's why I mean we can get this done in 15 minutes. Like it won't take long. I know you guys got plenty to do. So, the first one,
Hold.
go.
I would like to, Jeff Wakeman, Sarah Hall, Ruth, and I'd like the rest of your names just so
Oh,
I can
right.
document it for the meeting notes. You'll have it, but for my purposes.
I'm Calvin Beaumier,
Thanks, Ken.
Road Commissioner.
I can look up how to spell your last name.
Beaumie. I was gonna say, well, you're pretty good.
She
She's either bluffing or she's really good.
Better than I am. So,
Mike Stewart.
Okay, I got you.
Mark Blake.
Okay, I got you. And
Jill Tower, your neighbor?
that's
hi,
right.
Jill. And T-O-E-R.
T-O-H-E-R.
Okay, so basically, when I say, what do you like about the town of Durham? Saren's gonna write ideas down. What we're trying to do is talk to you guys, as many groups as we can, before town meeting to bring this rough draft of a vision statement to town meeting. So, what we wanna do is we're gonna get in front of as many groups, ask these exact same questions. And then from the public meeting, from these meetings, and everyone else that gives us the info, we're gonna come up with this rough draft to put in front of everybody. So when I say, what do you like about the town of Durham? Just go, it's all you
I
guys.
think I already answered that question.
Several
I've been to these
times.
meetings before.
And that's why I'm like, it's a little redundant, but
Yeah,
yet,
it's all right.
it's like, we wanna, get out here.
I think the rural nature of Durham is.
I was just gonna say a rural.
Rural. It's a popular one.
Mm-hmm. The
Very-
most.
the
The first.
Encouraging.
Rural yet close to.
We're 20 minutes from
Rural yet
everywhere.
convenient.
Yes, that's
Okay.
rural yet convenient. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else? Think about maybe what you do here,
What doesn't happen here?
kids, what doesn't happen, what do we like about town?
quiet up on my end.
I can send my kids over.
I already went through that, they all grew up and left.
It's okay unless the pigs get loose.
Yeah. Trying to keep that from happening.
We're down to only 2 left.
Hmm. Anything? Good? All right.
Good.
Okay. This is the tough one. 10 years from now, what do you want the town of Durham to be like?
Like it is right now?
Okay. Good.
I think that we need to figure out a way to expand our tax base. Otherwise, property taxes are going to keep going up. And whether that's through controlled business growth or controlled residential growth, more likely a balance of the two. I don't think one or the other is going to get it done exclusively. But I think with some thought going into it, I think it can be done in a way that it doesn't just end up looking like, Route 1 and
So the buzzword
Or-
of today
or-
of like smart growth.
yes, I really
Okay.
hate those kind of
No,
jargony terms though.
Totally with you, but it's what
We're going to drill
like-
down and talk about smart growth.
well, it's something. It's like a starting point.
Right. Absolutely.
And then as a community, you figure out
Right.
smart growth yourselves. Like that's the
Right.
point.
I think you need for me, I like the rural setting and the country part, but I think you need a more defined center of town, which is partly part of what
Right.
Sarah's talking about. I remember years ago when I first came here, there seemed to be more, especially around your holiday weekends, like your Memorial Days and stuff like that,
Right.
there was more community stuff happening, the firemen's musters.
Right.
Actually, to be real honest, probably the best fireworks I've ever seen in the state anywhere was behind the school that's not there anymore, out in the field. It went on for 35, 40 minutes, steady, one after the other, it never stopped. And honestly, I think it was, I think it was the best I'd ever seen. I'm not advocating for that,
Yeah, right,
but
but-
for a town of this size, I was
So,
pretty impressed. And
would
they used
you
to have
say-
the old home days, which they got away from a little bit. They're going back to it, but it's not
Right.
what it used to be. People are busier and they're going out of town. So if you've got that center of town,
Community.
maybe that community stuff, you
Right, I
make
think
it more of that back.
That, I think, helps foster a sense of community. I think that because
Right.
whether it's history or the geographic nature, Durham is a very large landmass compared to the number of people, I think that there's sort of clusters of people who know each other through the school or through church or through growing up here, but I think that the sense of community is much more scattered than really any kind of centralized
Right.
feel.
I mean, if this town could stay the way it is for the next 10, 20 years, and the tax dollars didn't go up to 30% for home, that'd be perfect. But realistically, that's not gonna happen, and that's why I said at that meeting over there, if we don't do this smartly and grow it the way we want to, you're gonna wake up some morning, there's gonna be an Irvin sitting right out there in the corner selling gas, and that's, ain't nothing you're gonna do about it, because they got the money.
Right.
And that's what's gonna happen.
Right.
So we gotta kind of do it. It's gonna grow, because everything's closing in, and that was said at the meeting too, and it's just,
Right.
if we can keep the center to a certain
There's a yes.
restraint, and then the outskirts can
Right.
still say rural, and people can still have that warm and fuzzy feeling.
Right. And that's part. Of this comprehensive plan is making these definitions, and making these definitions as a community, so it's clear. It's clear as day. This is our business district. This is our rural district. This is and that's what we're trying to. That's why I'm
Well,
trying to
and
propagate
it's
as
not
much as I
necessarily
can
up
for
to
you.
us to set those.
Nope.
It's us to show
Nope.
the vision of what the
That's right.
town as a
That's it.
Yeah.
We just bring the discussion. Okay. Anything else on 10-year? Nothing? Okay, so the other one is, and this is the one I really wanted to go and bring, especially in front of you guys and some other very important parts of our community, is what other questions should we be asking? And that's like, it's so broad, and I know that, but yet if there's, and feel free, we got, our list of contacts and all that stuff we're gonna give you guys, and do come back at us if you're sitting there milling this over.
Oh,
The more info we can get, the better.
One of the things, I just had this conversation with people on the planning board in another small town, But one of the things I think to look at in the big picture is we do have an aging population. We have a population that lives on a fixed income. And as there is more encroachment, as the greater Portland area, the greater Lewiston area,
Right.
the greater Augusta area all expand,
Right.
and there
Right.
is more encroachment, we face the risk of pricing people out of this community that have lived here their whole lives. And I think looking at whether affordable housing projects and some ways to make sure that there remains a place in Durham for
Right.
people that have spent their whole lives here.
Right.
And
And
we
then
don't,
that-
we don't price our community right out the
Right.
door.
And you're not the first to voice that at all. And so that's,
We've already
I look
got,
forward to that conversation as well, like furthering that one, because I think we just kind of tipped
Right.
the iceberg on that.
we've already got 1 million there more than we need from what I hear. That's
We got
why,
what?
that's why our property value's up so high.
We got one,
1 million there more than we need.
right. So any other questions? I mean, we're just, like you said, we're just still in this visioning,
Or issues,
you know,
or
or,
like
yeah, anything that,
buzzwords that come to you as trouble spots of where we should be really honing in and talking to specific people or groups or
yeah, groups even. You know, I know we're trying to get in front of some major ones in this month.
Well, and I think some of those questions came up at that meeting too, and one that just pops ahead, because Bill's sitting there, is we've had some discussion around EMTs. Now,
Right.
some of those problems are concerns for people, but they could be fixed arbitrarily just by what the growth does. They fall into place without really hurting, so to speak.
Right.
But, you know, those are things that people have been asking about, so.
And as we look at growth districts, which is, I realize, farther down the road
Yeah.
from where you guys are at right now, but in looking at sort of different zoning, one of the things that kind of goes back to the idea of affordable housing is whether or not we look at having a little bit higher density housing, multi-units, making some rentals available for young people that are starting out, you know, having a
Right.
little bit more, that everything in town isn't a single-family home on 2
Right.
to 3 to 5 to however many acres, you know, to
Right.
make things that are gonna be a little bit more approachable. I know the chief has talked about that we're not bringing in sort of young families that are gonna volunteer for the fire department. And people can't afford it.
Right,
And-
right.
More diversity, more diverse town instead of.
and just more approachable, more rental, a little bit more rental, a little bit more,
Yeah, and this is where, as we get,
for kind of people starting out.
well, and this is the other exciting part for me is getting this data that the state has, and that then we can help and bring before everyone and say, look, our town is aging,
Right.
or our town isn't aging, or, you know, how do we want to, what agreement do we want to come to as a community to move forward with that? And so I think a lot of the data that we're going to get as we keep moving through this is going to help us paint a picture of what Durham's looking like. And then we can better, you know, I look forward to doing these questions later again.
Right.
Like after we have discussions and it gets, now what do you see Durham like in 10 years? After you hear from other people in the community, or this is our vision, you know, I don't think those are going to go away. I think it's something we just got to keep asking these same three and keep peeling it out of people.
Well, 10 years from now, those questions are gonna be answered differently.
Right. And that's part of the plan is, well, when
maybe,
it's done
maybe
10
not,
years from when
because
it's
I
true.
think the railroad, the Durham making the choice not to have the railroad come through here and having it go around made this town very much the same as it was then.
Right.
Or maybe even backtracked a little bit because it was a little more booming at that point, and
Right.
that just
The river was the
changed. So
Yeah. All right.
that's what we got for you, or you got for us.
Right. No.
So thanks for talking to
Yes.
us.
Thank you. Appreciate you taking it.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Contact list of the members on the board. Can you see that with you?
Sure, pass them right out.
There's only 5 of them, and
I'll make a few. You can make.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make make a couple more for whoever's missing.
Right
Get your
behind
coffee. You get my bag. Thanks, guys.
Good.
Bye.
Have a good night, guys.
Next up is act on code enforcement officer resignation, as has been more than alluded to earlier this evening. We did receive the resignation of the code enforcement officer on February 9th. And I guess, do we wish to act on this at this point?
I think that we regretfully acknowledge that the resignation of code enforcement officer,
Was that a motion?
that was a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Next up, discuss open CEO position. So, I think we need to look at this from at least a couple of things. Number one, short term, what do we do now? And then, long term, how do we, fill the position in the long term? And, I don't know that we actually have enough information pulled together yet to determine long-term, but there are a few options open short-term. One being we can try to work with some of the other towns in the area and see if we can get another codes officer to come in. Another possibility, and haven't spoken to him yet, but we already have a licensed code officer on our payroll right now in Calvin, and whether he has the time to do short-term fill-in for this position while we figure out what to do. And
What I would like to see is I'd like for us to reach out to, I don't know, we used to use Brunswick before, I'm not sure if they were interested, but try to reach out to, and even Pownell, I know that they're doing something with North Yarmouth as well. If we can't find a town that's close by that's willing to maybe work as a dual thing or something, we'll have to look at getting a new CEO. As far as, I think temporarily, just because I don't want to see the builders that are in the midst that are waiting for inspections. If Calvin can do them, I think that's fine, but I don't think that that's the job that Calvin should be doing all the time. I think he's got plenty on his plate right now, and I don't want to add another list of stuff to have to take care of, because there's a lot going on with code, so, I mean, for the interim, to keep those guys from, until we can find somebody, and even if we can just find somebody temporarily, that will get us through till we can,
Right, I think the short answer is all of the above.
yeah, it is, basically, but, I think we need to look for, obviously, another CEO / town planner, however we're gonna put it out there, but,
Right, I think we need to work on that job description as well to really make sure that we're encompassing what we need moving forward.
have we reached out at all?
I have not reached out. I've had several suggestions. So, but for right now, until we had accepted the resignation, Calvin was just covering for
Do we
them.
have, is there a fair amount going on right now? Do we have?
You've got quite a bit coming up. I think Mike Kopp's got a big subdivision coming up on Swamp Road. You've got Barrett Baldwin's got a subdivision. He's made an application for us. You've got a lot of land use stuff coming up, and there are 4 or 5 open building permits out there. I've done some inspections, and
Well, thank you for stepping up.
I mean they're busy. People are busy.
Yeah, they are busy, that's why I say we
As if
need
you
to,
haven't had enough going on lately.
we need to,
I don't mind it.
I mean, I think that's my suggestion in the interim, because I don't want to hold up contractors that are in the middle of already starting and been approved to move forward, so anything that Calvin can do to help move that forward, that's fine, but I think we need to reach out and see if we've got another CEO somewhere that's willing to at least work with us for whether it's a month or a month and a half or 2 months, whatever it's gonna do, so we can get our job description put together and get out there and see if we can start getting, and it may be 4 or 5 months, I don't know, depends on how long it takes to find the right person, but.
Reach out, and I'll go do some talking tomorrow too, so we'll see.
It has been suggested to me that the one in Lisbon might,
Dennis?
might be willing to do some interim work.
So maybe between now and the end of the week, if we pull that information together and see if there's anybody that's interested, and then we can go from there, and then,
Well,
I
when
don't
you
really-
say interim,
Well-
what are you thinking? I
Well,
mean,
I don't know what it's gonna take. It's gonna take us a short amount of time to put a job description together for what we want. Make sure we do it, try to do it right. I don't wanna rush it so it's half blanked out. But it could be up to 3 months, it could be a little more than that, my guess. You know, it's gonna take us probably at least 4 or 5 weeks probably to get the right wording and make sure everything's where it needs to be for us. We're gonna have to put out for applications and then do interviews, so you look at it probably 3 months anyways. And it may be more than that.
Well, we've got some rough job descriptions to get, I think we can pull a job description together probably to vote on at our next meeting. And then get something posted.
I would guess maybe 3 to 6 months at the most. Hopefully it'd be less than that in the end, but
how many hours do you suspect it would take somebody to do?
10, 15?
As an interim basis.
Probably 10, probably 1 day a week they could handle it.
that's just for what's ongoing right now. That's not including what could be coming up.
But if
Because
you're
you
gonna,
get subdivisions is a lot
And
more
appeals
involved.
board meetings coming up, you've got variances coming up, and so if they're gonna be involved in those, and it's gonna be hard to find
Planning
someone
board.
to step into that role
Right.
on a limited basis. They might just say, well, it would take
check,
many hours to
check
get.
with Dennis. He gets Fridays off.
They'd have to get up to speed on all the variances and appeals and.
And I know you're, and as far as the 3 to 6 months, I'd like with summer being, spring, summer being
Oh,
the
yeah.
busy season, I'd really like to get somebody in place a little bit more quickly than that if we can.
I would too.
because
I was trying to be realistic about it,
Right. I'm just thinking with summer building season and then,
I've heard you guys talk about planning, and they're really two different things. Codes and planning are two different things.
Right.
You need an economic development plan, and you need a community development plan, and that you can hire out. You could hire somebody through AvCog can do one for you, or they'll do drawings and layouts in this district and I think to try to find a code officer that
Does
can
both.
also do that is going to be they're going to want 65, 75 grand a year, and they've
I agree.
got a 4-year degree, and you're not going to find a code officer that can do both of those things. I mean, you could find someone, but I think you're looking for two. I think you need to compartmentalize that and reach out to hire an outside source to come up with the development plan that you guys want to put together and how you want to see the town proceed.
well, at least the way it was presented to us is that person is really a little bit more tied into, as the development plan, the comprehensive plan is in place, really kind of oversight to make sure it is being implemented and that it is being followed.
Right. A code
Over
officer's
time.
job. A code officer's job is to be party to all those things and maybe facilitate getting it done and then make sure it's being followed through with. But I think a
Misusing
town
their
planner
terms.
is very expensive. And usually towns have a planner and then they have a code officer. And I don't think you're gonna.
Usually they have a lot more going in their
A
town than we
lot
do.
more than town Durham's got going on. I think that
And I
Durham.
think that's where we may not be looking for a full-fledged planner.
Right.
Where maybe somebody kind of in between, somebody that will lead the town forward, but not the full
Right.
planner position, because the town doesn't have the resources.
Right,
at
and
this
And if you go to the state planning office and read the job description of a code enforcement officer, it touches all of those things. He's the liaison between the planning board, they're the appeals board, all the different boards, and they direct and keep it all, the glue that keeps it all together.
Right, and like Dennis wasn't the code enforcement officer up till 2 years ago. I mean, he's within 3 years of code enforcement officer, so it might be someone out there that wants to become a code enforcement officer, but don't want to be a planner. And that's why I don't want to say that we want both and then not be able to get someone that wants to be a code enforcement officer, because like you said, the code enforcement officer is to take care of subsurface wastewater and take care of your plumbing and make sure things are done properly that way and up to codes, and that's what we're really looking for, to keep things going forward, but then to put the label, you're gonna be planner too, on top of it, I think gonna scare a lot of people.
I think we want to make sure that we include, whether or not we include planner in the title, but as part of the job description, the reason that our existing comprehensive plan was rejected by the state was because we had no capacity in place to follow and monitor its implementation. So we need to make sure that that piece
Right. It's followed through.
is part of somebody's job.
Or do we outsource it or whatever, I mean.
Right, it's just, it's gotta be.
We just haven't got on it that much, but I definitely reach out to the other towns and see if we can find anybody by the next meeting or
The
sooner.
comprehensive plan that I've put together, I've worked with AvCog, and they, you know, together with them, their planner, they have a planner at AvCog, I'm sure GPCog is the same thing, but they have done these for all the towns around us, and they just slide it over and say, okay, here it is, what do you want to change? You change what you want, they put it together and give it back to you. And
They are working with GP cog to a certain extent. They're using limited funds, but they're asking them to write parts of it, and they're doing most of the visioning and that kind of stuff on their own.
And then once you have one, state law requires that any policies or ordinances, and I brought this up at the City of Auburn one night when they wanted to close all the roads in town, all the old discontinued roads, and I pointed out to them that their comprehensive plan said in the rural district, they were to pursue and acquire easements for walking trails, and I said, so you have on the one hand, this is your comprehensive plan, says this is what you're supposed to be doing, and now you want to do something that's contrary to that and close off all of the open roads for horseback riding, and they just looked at each other and said, well, we didn't know we couldn't do that. I said, well, that's what you're doing. You're doing something, you're voting on implementing a policy that's contrary to your comprehensive plan, and state law forbids that. And so that's what a code enforcement officer will do, is they'll read that, but the town has to move forward with that as the backdrop of the decision.
And that's been part of the problem with our ordinances and stuff too. One page says you can, then you flip it over here, and it's just contrary to it, and that's what we've been trying to clean
Just
that
picked
up.
up on that in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
I said, what is this from? That's not here anymore.
So essentially what you're saying is that piece of it, that sort of quarterbacking
That's the foundation.
comprehensive plan, once it's in place, is according to sort of the state
State law,
code licensing, that is part of their job. That is not a separate function, but that is
That is
within
part
the
of their
scope
job.
of their normal
and if
position.
you ever go to court and someone takes you to court, you take someone to court, the judge, the courts look at your comprehensive plan, and if you say over here that your comprehensive plan says you're supposed to be looking for multi-unit housing, and then an applicant comes in and you say, I don't want multi-unit housing, that's what that's for. So
Right.
it's the roadmap to your future.
Oh, that part I understand. I'm just talking about sort of the global, the oversight
The
of it.
code officer is supposed to look at that and ensure that any new ordinances or any new zoning is compliant with that.
Not build it, help with it, but
Yeah.
he was way steep in it.
Well, yeah, you can easily have GPCog do that for you, or AvCog, or you just have a little input on it, but they pretty much have these all canned, put together, and that's been my experience, so, unless GPCog is much different than AvCog.
I would think so.
I think it's a very expensive service to
Oh.
contract with them to do.
Pretty cheap. I almost think they almost gave us ours. I think they just, part of us being a member, and all they're gonna do is take what a similar town in the county has already in place and give it to you and say, hey, make the changes.
And that's where a committee would come in and
So you
say,
take some from here, some from New Gloucester, some from Gray, some from Standish, and
but that's a whole different
That's a
thing.
different committee.
Let's focus on the code enforcement officer. Yeah, but if you could reach out and see if I can get someone, Dennis, or I'll talk to the Bowden code enforcement officer, see if he's interested.
So then maybe they should communicate with Calvin so that the two of them can,
Well, we gotta communicate with us how much they want. They may say, I'll do it for this amount. And-
well, yes.
You know what I mean? So we gotta say yay or nay on that, because they're not gonna do it cheap. They're gonna give their time up.
Yeah, I think once we find out if there's somebody's interested.
We can talk about it.
And then we decide to go ahead forward with that, then they can kind of communicate with Calvin a little bit for that crossover, then we'll go forward from there.
you wanna be.
And I do agree with Sarah, I'd like to have it done way before 3 to 6 months, but I'm trying to be realistic about how this may move forward, and I don't wanna.
And that's just for the interim, and just to find someone to do it for us till we can
Right.
get a full timer in here. But then we'll have to discuss what we want the person to do.
You gotta ask them about night meetings, if that's something they're gonna be able to do, appeals board, you have to give them an agenda, give them an
Yeah,
agenda.
we have a
for
ton of
this.
them coming up too.
Yeah, and see if they're gonna be able to do that.
And if all they can do is inspections and they can't do them other things, well, and that's what we've got offered to us, that's maybe what we'll have to do and figure out how to handle the rest afterwards
To
until
help,
we
you
get.
know, to keep the builders going. I don't wanna
Right.
stop anybody,
Yeah,
or anybody trying to build a house.
yeah.
I might be able to handle a couple of the meetings or whatever, or we switch off. Or
Okay.
That's what I meant about you communicating with whoever else we get.
Okay, so for the next couple of weeks until we can meet again on this show, do we actually need to appoint someone to this position to allow them to actually do the job?
First, we gotta find someone.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm thinking for the next couple of weeks that
Oh, appoint Kelvin?
maybe we appoint Calvin until we can,
Yeah, still out on his plate. Kevin, we appoint you.
Okay.
That was easy.
because I don't know if he can legally do it
Yeah, I don't think you can. I think
without
you're right.
being
I think he
appointed.
needs to be
Okay,
appointed.
Well, then we'll, yeah.
Go ahead.
So,
I move that we appoint Calvin to be interim codes enforcement officer.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Price is right, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I already got you at one prize, that's it.
Okay. Budget discussion, so I think we can actually do D and E together, kind of.
Yeah.
And we have warrant put together here. We can work our way down through the articles.
No,
Oh, gosh.
no.
I see you getting stuff over there.
Well, I'm
So,
gonna.
Do we have a person for number one?
I believe
Sorry, do we have a what?
Joshua Klein, Golden.
Yes.
Um,
Is he all set? I know there was gonna be some cross training there or
No,
something.
he's all set. He knows
Okay.
he's supposed to know what he's doing, so we're going with it.
He said he's supposed to?
Well, Shannon says he knows what he's doing, so I'm going with it.
Okay. What's his name?
Josh Klein Golden.
Josh what?
Klein,
Klein?
K-L-E-I-N. Golden, Golden.
He's a lawyer in town.
He is?
We'll never
Yeah.
guess.
Was he the guy that came here one night or something, I think, or some way?
he was at our last town meeting, I believe.
Is he the one that
To
come up
observe.
front, maybe in?
He kind of observed the last year's town meeting.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, he's got practice in Lisbon, I think.
So Articles 1 through 3 are formality articles, basically. Article 4, and that's to see which of the two bids received to accept with regards to the town's curbside waste and recycling contract for proposal. And the contract will run from July 1st through June 30th, 2020. I don't know, have we actually voted on which one we
I don't believe so, no.
recommended? And I don't believe the budget committee was
No,
gonna
they have
recommend.
not.
They weren't,
They haven't voted on anything.
I don't know that they're going to recommend one.
Okay, that's fine.
But, from the discussion, but, I will, if anybody wants to recommend, have the selectmen recommend it, I'll open for a motion.
I move that the selectmen recommend Pine Tree Waste.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I would like to see in this article, though, the price, Pine Tree Waste, and what their contract says, and Tyson, what theirs says, if we're gonna
Okay.
And
make it available.
I would check with MMA on the wording of this article. We may actually have to put in two articles, one that says to see if the town will accept the bid from Pine Tree Waste, and then
Yeah.
and
One
then
of those,
one.
if not, then, and go on to the
Well, I
next.
don't know if you can even do if not. You may have to have two specific articles, and basically you vote if you.
Vote one up or one down.
Yeah, that's
Right,
what you
yeah.
hope to do, yeah. But I would check with MMA on how to word this, because I know it can be tricky on the wording sometimes.
So is the idea that then somebody, since you're not going to be here, somebody would then present to the town the differences between the two contracts?
So
Vice chair will do that.
And
somebody will present the differences. Both companies will be invited to be there, and if the town allows them to speak, will be allowed to speak on this. And then I believe if the selectmen make a recommendation, the person presenting should present why the recommendation is being made. So we have a A motion and a second to recommend Pine Tree Waste. Any further discussion on that? All in favor of recommending Pine Tree Waste? All opposed? Motion carries 3-1.
I'm used to it.
And,
That might change someday, who knows?
It might change, you never know.
all right, next one is to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for administration expenses. The budget committee has recommended the $351,047 with the breakout below, and the selectmen have agreed to that. Anybody want to make any changes on this one? Because we've already voted on that budget. Okay. Article 6. Oh,
Just, is this the, when we wanna make sure we have the money in there to cover those books that we talked about earlier? Because if we've gotta buy those code books,
We could raise it from.
what
the
was the
18
price
We have
around?
1,800 in there now.
It was around $3,000, I thought I heard was the number.
Calvin, what do you think about the books that we're gonna need to buy for the Mubeck and the?
You don't have them? You don't
No,
have- I have them. I have.
I know you have
With
them.
commentary, without comment, you can have, you can use mine. Until, when you hire somebody, I'm sure they're gonna have their own books, I would think.
They might have their own books.
Or they might
We was
want-
under the understanding that we had to have a set here at the town office.
Should have.
not a set, 3 sets.
3 sets is what we was told, yes.
That's
I don't know
our
if that's
ordinance.
factual or
By
not.
ordinance.
That's our ordinance, it says that.
Copies.
That's what our ordinance
Copies of
says.
your ordinance, not copies of the building.
The ordinance actually states 3 copies of the,
It needs to be changed, and we talk about it every year, but the ordinance hasn't actually
I don't
been
think-
amended
I
yet.
don't think any town's
You wanna
doing
change
it.
Yes.
I mean, I got 2 of them sitting right in my office. I have both versions I could bring over and drop it off here.
okay.
That would be a good short-term solution.
Right, that'll be the short term, but do we need to add money in for long term in case?
In case you don't, in case that, you know,
I mean, or we buy, we
buy
buy
one-
one this year and we buy
And
one
that's,
next year.
yeah, that's fine too, yeah.
We buy what we
Okay.
can this year and then finish it up next year, yeah.
I'll sell you mine.
I can live with that.
Bargain basement price?
Get the one with commentary, that's all I can tell you,
So-
and they're harder to get, but.
Articles 6 and 7, so the capital projects, the Budget Committee is recommending that we split them into 2 separate ones, one for the renovation and then the other for the roof, the painting, and the heating system.
Right.
And the first one is for the renovations. The Budget Committee is recommending 30,000. The selectmen at this point are recommending 20,000 on that. The Budget Committee felt that 20,000 may not be enough to do what was needed, and wanted to make sure that we were able to do that, and voted in the extra 10,000 from them.
Right, and their rationale was that it's a designated building fund anyway, it's not raising any additional money, and if it's not spent, it would go right back into that same designated fund. So it wouldn't affect the taxpayers, and it would still be preserved if it wasn't spent.
And I would agree, when you get into rehabs, you can find a lot of hiccups.
I was gonna say, I thought that was pretty skinny myself, but
Yeah.
I thought the 30,000 was a little lean, but.
Yeah, that could be too, but I think we could make it work, depending on what we decide to do. We could stay within them limits, still come up with something decent in the event we go in that direction.
So I would take a motion on this if somebody wants to change the amount.
It's already got it on here.
She just wrote that,
Okay,
and we
well,
have not recommended that yet.
All right, well, I move that the selectmen recommend 30,000 along with the budget committee.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Article 7 is to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the municipal town office maintenance. And this one was the other 30,000, which the selectmen have already recommended, and the budget committee also recommended. Article 8,
To see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for animal control. And the Budget Committee has agreed with our recommendation. One note is that the actual amount is $12,573.34. There's a typo in there.
I fixed it on mine, but yeah.
And have we had a response from, I know that there was a proposed budget from our animal control officer. Our number that we agreed upon as the selectmen is different than that number.
What I was told is that he would have to think about it. I've not heard anything since, and he has been responding to calls, so
Okay.
status quo until we hear otherwise.
All right. Article 9, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for assessing. Both the Selectmen and Budget Committee have recommended at $20,150. There's no changes.
And that's a contracted rate anyway, isn't it?
Most of it, there's a couple other items in there, but yeah, most of it's contracted. Article 10, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for cemeteries. And the Budget Committee has agreed with our recommendation of $4,200. No desire to change anything on that? Okay. Article 11, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for conservation. Both the Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend $2,100 to be transferred from the Recreation Fund. Article 12, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for social and community service agencies. The Selectmen and Budget Committee both recommend $3,000, raising $3,000. However, the recommendations are slightly different at this point. The Budget Committee has substituted Tri-County Mental Health for Androscoggin Hospice. And one of the main reasons is Androscoggin Hospice used to be Androscoggin Hospice and Home Care, and they've dropped the home care. They did that rather suddenly in December, and it was recommended that maybe Tri-County Mental Health might provide more services to the town. So,
Right, and that drop had had a negative effect on some residents of the community.
so I don't know if there's a desire to change our recommendation on this or not.
I think the townspeople can make that decision. They're gonna beat this up anyways, they do every year.
All right, no changes on that. To see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for the Eureka Community Center. Both the Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend $4,903. Transferring $540 from designated fund balance. Please note that there is a typo on this in Eureka Rentals. That should be $540, not $504. No desire to change. All right, Article 14, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for term fire and rescue operating budget. Selectmen and Budget Committee recommends $321,680, all of it being raised. Again, the Budget Committee has agreed with our recommendation on this. All right. Article 15, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for the Fire and Rescue Capital Improvement Account. The Budget Committee has also agreed with the $50,000 that the Selectmen recommended. Article 16, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for the annual bond payment for the Quint Ladder Fire Truck, payment 4/6. Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend $33,004. Transferring that $33,004 from the Capital Improvement Fund. No changes, okay. Article 17, I will not read this whole one. This is the one to deal with the purchase of the fire truck with a total anticipated cost of up to $486,000 in principal. And the Budget Committee has recommended this. The Selectmen have not made a recommendation on this. Is there a desire from the select board to make a recommendation? I will take motions.
I move that we recommend moving forward with it.
Is there a second? I will second it to get it on. Is there discussion? No discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion fails. I will accept any other motions if there's a desire. If not, it will read Selectmen, no recommendation. Budget Committee recommended. Okay. There should be another article in between 17 and 18. And that would be to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for, and I'm not sure the best wording, I would do something like additional station coverage, or I'm not sure the best wording of that. If this is for the option 1, 2, 3, and
Sorry.
that's fine.
I don't have any typos now.
Now the
The
pressure's
whole
on.
town's watching.
And we do have, we have the,
Would you do it as 2 articles to see whether the town will authorize staffing or the hiring of additional staff for the fire department and then list options 1, 2, or 3, and then the next article being to appropriate the funds to support that?
I don't think it's needed, as far as,
Well, because you got to sort out whether they're going for 1, 2, or 3.
well, we're not necessarily giving options 1, 2, or 3 in the article. We will have a handout that will list, these are 3 options, and we can discuss it. It's,
If we do that, the reason I was thinking about having it be in the warrant is that people get that in the town report in advance of town meeting, so they've got some time to think it over and digest it, and as opposed to it just being a handout that morning. Or can the handout be incorporated or somehow so that people have some time to, because there are 3 different options, they have different ramifications, and so people have a little bit of time to think about what they're doing.
If we had-
Can we
so-
get the handout inserted?
Why don't we put it with the fire department? Or could you put it like?
Could it be part of
Part
like
of
the
his
fire
report.
department report and explain what the 3 different staffing options are?
We could
I
have the
just want
fire,
people to have information.
the
that
fire
makes
department
sense.
people put the inserts in
Well,
prior to passing on the
we're-
books.
So, from the recommendation of the Budget Committee, we're gonna have a public hearing on this ahead of time anyway. Or we're gonna have a public meeting ahead of the town meeting to discuss this.
Okay, I was sick that night, so I didn't hear
I
anything.
believe-
That's all new to me.
So, at least that was the recommendation of the,
Yeah, it was.
so that we can get some of the materials out ahead of time, can have some discussion ahead of time, and so that the town isn't surprised.
I think we could pass out the handouts there, but I still think that they ought to be
They
with the
should,
book when they can get the book.
they
'cause-
should be available. We do this every year. We have
Yeah.
a whole list, a whole line of handouts every
Yeah.
year. to-
Oh, at the morning of.
Right,
was
but
just thinking
yeah, this
about-
is one I think they should decipher ahead of time. I know we're gonna have a public meeting on it, but if you got 20 people there and you got 100 that show up, that's gonna be the problem.
Right, well, maybe we have handouts available at the public meeting.
So you're gonna have the same discussion at town meeting that you're gonna have at the public hearing. It happens
Oh, yeah.
every time, because not everybody makes it to the public hearing, and the people that make it there may not be the ones that make it to town meeting, so it ends up, you end up having the same discussion, but it's, we could throw in an article ahead of time to see if the town, to to see if the town wishes to expand staffing. But see, that's why I want, because it almost ends up worded the same way, except this one actually has the dollar amount included in it.
I think if they appropriate or raise money, then they're saying yes, so.
Yeah, and, I mean, we can put we can put the items that are used at the public hearing, we can put them online, we can have them available here at the town office, we can do, I mean, short of going around to everybody's house and handing it to them.
Well, we can do that too. We can, if we put 2 boxes of books at the Durham Get and Go, if they let us do that, like they usually do, and there's 40 or 50 books, we'll just make sure there's 40 or 50 handouts. They can take the book and take the handout.
Can I, just a couple of things?
Please, help us.
Yeah, the wording of the article, I don't know if you should necessarily say additional fire station staff coverage. I'm not sure that's right. I was thinking
Okay, no,
perhaps
give me what to put.
additional, if we're gonna do that, maybe
Emergency.
additional fire and EMS staffing coverage or something like that.
Yeah.
Because really the primary focus is not necessarily fire, but rather EMS.
Yeah.
So maybe it shouldn't say fire, just additional
EMS.
EMS.
That's what it is. That's only
Do we
coverage.
take
That's all they
fire
do. Ain't like the people we hire are gonna be out with a fire hose. They're gonna be,
They'll assist with fires, but their primary shortfall is in EMS coverage.
that's probably what we should put that.
Yeah, so just get rid of the fire
It is
and.
a fire and rescue department, so I think it should say fire and
There you go.
EMS or just EMS.
Go with the
One of the
fire.
two. But they are gonna be dual role if we do something. And then the other thing I was gonna throw out there is I know I put it out there by people saying, well, hey, I wouldn't mind taking a look at it and stuff like that. And I know what I've put together to this point in time is 3 pages. Not saying that pass out, we don't wanna put it in the town report, I wouldn't think 3 pages for the printing cost, but maybe the handouts. And I think one of the things I'm getting for feedback is I go beyond the department to other people looking for feedback, is that if you're not close to the situation, you got a million questions when you read what I've put together. That it helps, but that it's lacking a bunch of the stuff that pops into your head. So I really think when it's all said and done, what I'll have for a document is gonna be at the very least 5 pages long, perhaps 6 pages long. And I still think there'll be questions that come up, but I think with that, I can probably cover the vast majority of it. So it's definitely not too big for a handout, but for a handout that day, it is way too big for
Right.
a
And
handout.
at least
to
it might
think people
eliminate
will
some of the
follow.
questions that you get on the floor. At least people will.
Mhm. I think, yeah, and I think what what it would hopefully do, if we do have the public hearing, people can come talk, find out, ask their questions or whatever. And I guess to me, what the handout ends up being is for the people that aren't able to attend the public hearing or listen to it on TV, or maybe the day of to refer back to for specific information and stuff. So where it will probably be 5 or 6 pages, I don't know if we want to incorporate that in the town report, but I do think we want to have it ready for distribution simultaneously with the town report, because I guess the bottom line is I still hold true to what I said initially. I want people to know what they have. If they choose not to vote to do any of the options, hopefully we'll maintain status quo if nothing else, and we'll stay the way we are, but at least I've told everybody. I don't want it on me that I haven't told everybody what they currently have.
And you can kind of do this with the PowerPoint thing at the town meeting, so they can see this. Is that the plan?
I would
Try and set something up, yeah.
Yeah.
For the public hearing and the town meeting, I would
Right.
strongly suggest having a PowerPoint that kind of hits the major.
Right. And then Bill can explain what each one of those is, and, you know, they can.
Yeah, I'm never gonna hit on all the questions.
Right.
You
No,
know,
I think.
as soon as you start reviewing it, it leads to a million different questions about, well, this and that and the other thing, and I just.
Individual.
No, they'll,
Right. I
they'll.
just felt like it's a big enough sort of thing to get your brain around that giving people more time than just
Yeah.
the morning of town meeting to digest all of that information would be useful.
And I'm not sure I'd leave the "and fire" in there. I think I'd take that out of there, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, they'll still be used for, I mean,
It'll be
they're,
used for fire,
they're-
actually, you know, as far as
Okay.
the duties, if we, it depends on the option, but if we went, I'm gonna use the $135,000 option, which would include the 7 12-hour days. A lot of their daytime responsibilities are not just gonna be EMS responses, would be EMS, but a lot of their other daytime responsibilities are gonna be cleaning around the station, maintaining the apparatus and things like that, so.
Is 12-hour days the normal for something like that?
Depends on where you go, or what you're doing. 10 to 12, yeah, because to make it worthwhile for somebody to do the per diem work, they're gonna wanna work 10 to 12 hours. A lot of times you get people that are commuting a distance. The other side of it is in this case, the 135 was actually a recommendation for full-time positions. So you want to be able to try to do a rotation that fits within a firefighter work schedule and stuff like that, which off the top of my head, I think it's 45 hours on a 28-day average. The average work week can be up to 45 hours. You don't have to pay overtime as long as it's scheduled hours, so like it's 7/7. 4 days one week, 3 days the next week. Average is still 42 or just a hair over the course of 28 days, and so it fits within that. So some of it's trying to make it fit, some of it, actually, the 12-hour day was actually trying to, I'd actually prefer to be saying, well, we should look at a 14-hour day, because some of what I have to expand in my explanation is to make sure people understand that, say we do a 7 to 7 schedule, a lot of people, transport takes 2 hours. Most people have to be to work by 7 or 8 o'clock, somewhere in there. So the cutoff for our evening coverage is 4. We might be able to change that, but we still have a gap from the time the evening coverage would get done until the staffing, if it was 7, which I think you'd have to use 7 because most of them are going to be full-timers somewhere else, and their shift is not going to be ending till 7. So you probably might even struggle with 7. Evening, the gaps aren't there, but first thing in the morning, there'd still be a slight gap in there and stuff. So it'd actually be preferred to be setting here, or have it written up saying 14 or 15 hours, because that really leaves no gap there. Well, each one of the options looked at ways to plug a gap. And each option progressively was less effective in plugging the gaps.
so we have a article written. Is there a motion for a recommendation on this article?
For either his 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah,
So
I'm not prepared to make a
You
recommendation at this time.
you can make a recommendation.
I want to go to the
for-
public hearing.
For 1, 2, 3, you can make a recommendation for $0, or we can go with a no recommendation.
Leave it up to town, no recommendation. I ain't got enough information to say yea or nay another one.
Well, yeah, it's probably gonna, can we make, after the public hearing, can we make a recommendation then, even though it won't be on,
It won't be.
won't be on here, but we
It
can
won't
make
be
it
on
on the floor?
there. You can,
We could make a recommendation
If-
on the floor then.
you could, if the selectmen met after the public hearing and decided they wanted to recommend something, you could vote, we could vote on it and say that after the public hearing, the selectmen have decided to change their recommendation to something or other.
Yeah, because usually with those type of meetings, questions invoke more questions, and a lot of times that's where you get more of your information. So I think that's what I would like to do.
So at this point, we have no recommendation. There's no motions, so no recommendation. Let's see.
So is that gonna be Article 18 or 18A or 19? Or?
17B or what?
I don't know
Probably be
yet.
Well,
I'll renumber them all in order.
Okay.
that'll probably be Article 18, but unless we have some other ones that get inserted. So what's on the paper is Article 18. see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for general assistance. At this point, the selectmen have recommended $3,000. The budget committee have recommended $2,000.
I move that we change our recommendation to conform to the budget committee.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
3,000 it is?
And that was,
She's gone.
she's not there.
She had to leave.
Okay.
I was kind of surprised, kind of surprised that was that low to start with,
What?
down to 2,000. Just seems,
Well, it was, so it had been 5,000 for many, many years, and we never got close to that. Last year, I think it was, we dropped it to 3,000, and that's what we had originally approved earlier, and the budget committee suggested going down to 2,000, because we haven't, I think back in 2010, we spent between 2,000 and 3,000 or something like that, but we haven't spent close to 2,000 for several years.
so the budget committee agrees on the 3,000?
No,
2,000.
2,000. That's what you just voted on, was the 2,000.
Oh, I thought you said 3.
No, the budget committee was 2, the selectmen had been 3, and it's now 2.
Okay. Guess I misunderstood. Too many numbers being chucked around there.
It's,
I think 2,000 is pretty low, but maybe
You can
not.
call for a new
If
vote.
that's all what's the most we've ever spent?
let me see, I can tell you as far as in the past, however far back so, no, I can't, because we don't have the expenses on here.
Oh,
Last year we spent 400.
And
Of
this,
the
that was,
3,000.
the 404 was before reimbursement?
yes, that is before reimbursement. So, back to 2016, because I got rid of all of the general assistance. All right, so actually 4,000 in 2009, 2,700 in 2010, 5,400 in 2011.
Well, see, I couldn't see any of that when I.
Well, our stuff never went back as far, I
Yeah.
actually said at our meeting that likely 2009 area, we were higher.
4,400, and then back down to 1,600.
So 404 was a.
But I believe all these amounts were before reimbursement.
Yeah, all these amounts are before reimbursement,
So-
and mine are too.
So up until a couple of years ago, reimbursement was
4 years
50,
ago.
was about 50%.
Right.
Gone
So,
up, though, to 75.
to 75. So, even though we spent, like 4,000 on, or 3,860, we actually got reimbursed 1,930 of that.
And now the reimbursement's 75%?
I believe it's 70%.
70%.
70 some-
went up.
But the budget, the governor's budget that's up now is they want to take away all of the reimbursement for the towns. I don't think it'll pass, but that is what's up.
Well, looking at the historical numbers, I'm a little bit less comfortable with my motion, but
Yeah, that's
I still
why.
think that we are.
We're okay there. Expended was
Within.
1,000 there. Well, I see 1,600, and we see 1,100, then we see 1,000. What do we got on 16?
400. 16 was,
4,400.
Yeah, I'm just talking the last 3 years.
Even if you went for
Yes.
44, you get half of that back, right?
yes,
So 2,000 would even cover that year.
Yeah.
yeah, except for,
2 is actually 4,000.
And the one thing about this line, it doesn't, it really doesn't matter if you go over on it, you have to pay it. Basically it comes out of undesignated funds. I don't even know if you have to go back the next year and,
I don't think so.
yeah. So, I mean,
You gonna leave your motion?
so the motion's already passed and so on. It would, if,
Okay.
you can reconsider, but it,
If she's not gonna
I don't-
retract the motion,
We
I
can
can
still,
live with it.
if we can still overspend it if we need to,
Yeah.
and it comes out of undesignated funds and we don't have to have another town meeting, then
Okay, so
I know those things can go
After-
all over the place.
after the general assistance, I'd like to insert a new article, which is actually already up there. First article, number 19. And that is to see what some of the money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for grant matching funds. And we discussed this before for at $10,000. The budget committee has not discussed this one yet because it's not in their books, but we will have them bring it up at their meeting on Monday.
And you're putting in 10,000? A 19A?
Yes, that's.
I think we discussed that,
I
too.
believe we discussed and,
Yeah.
and agreed on the 10,000.
Yeah, I believe we did.
And that's enough?
When we discussed this, we thought of going in steps. It used to be around 30,000 or something when I started, and we're down in the lower teens, I think, at this point, when you consider what we already have outstanding on it.
Sorry, something bad happened. There we go.
Oh, I mean, I know that the chief has been actively seeking grants. I know Calvin's been working on some grant applications. I just want to make sure we have enough.
So we have the 12,378, so with another 10,000, we'd have 22,378.
And then we were thinking another 10 next year, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good with that?
Article 19, number the second. To see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for Parks and Recreation. The Selectmen and Budget Committee both recommended the $14,220 with the breakout as you see. Okay. Article 20, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for Planning Boards, Appeals, and Historic District Commission. And the Budget Committee has agreed with the Selectmen recommendation on that. And Article 21, the Budget Committee has not seen yet. Article 22, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the Public Works Capital Project. We have not actually agreed on this one yet because of the curtain.
No, the curtain's not in this one.
So that amount does not include the.
No, it's the 47,000 for Article 22 that includes the curtain.
That's where I was at.
So we are.
Oh,
Yeah. I kind
behind the.
of, I kind of skipped over 21 because the Budget Committee hasn't.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So, let's see, and that was $9,660 for the curtain on that.
Is
Did we
that
have-
in this 47?
Yeah,
Yep.
That 9,000 is in there?
yeah.
Yes.
And we got how much left over? 2,400?
22,
More or less.
23, 24.
So I'm
somewhere in there.
gonna recommend that we take that 9,000 out of there.
And we were waiting to hear back some information too.
Yeah, and he got it, and it's quite a bit more,
Okay.
about 3,000 or so more.
13.5.
Yeah.
So
And I did some research and pulled some things together, and I think we could, in the event that we still think we need to move forward with that, I think we could get pretty much the same thing with what we have left, and I think it'll work fine, so.
and
We
then
can talk about that when the time comes.
if we take that out, that would put us down to $37,350 on that line.
37,
350.
so that's not in this top one at this point, correct? I know the budget committee hasn't looked at this, but,
That's not in Article 21. Article
Okay.
21 is the budget.
okay, I was just making sure that,
Yep. Does anybody want to make a
Second.
motion? Did you actually make a motion?
yeah, that's the motion to take the 9,000, whatever it was,
Okay, so that's going to make it
out of there,
337,
make it
350.
37,350, that's my motion.
And there was a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. All right, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for the town, for the Public Works Capital Reserve Fund. And I do not know if we've actually had an agreement on this 100,000. This was,
For next year's truck, right?
right, this was my recommendation. I don't remember for sure if we actually agreed on that.
I think there was some discussion around it, but I wasn't there the second night, so I can't remember.
I thought that we did with the
I
idea
thought
that
so
we were
too,
gonna
but-
have to buy another truck next year, so we might as well.
Right, that's kind of what I was thinking that we did, but we might, since we haven't gone over the other one, we can just double check with them on that one.
If you, I mean, we could make a motion now.
That we recommend it,
That's what we recommend if you wish.
I make that motion, so moved.
Is there a second?
Oh, second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to recommend 100,000 to go into the Public Works Capital Reserve Fund. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. All right,
So do we anticipate a truck every 2 years, essentially forever?
basically, because you've got
12
6 or 7 trucks, 7 with the spare. So you're talking
14 year olds,
14,
yeah.
and that's pushing it. They usually say about 10. We're going 12 because by the year 13 and 14, it's a spare. But
It's just, right now, I'm having a hard time choking down what we pay for these trucks and only get 1 year and get 10,000 back out of it is weighing heavy on me right now. Spend 48,000 on a truck and 1 year later, I only get 10 grand out of it. How many of you guys would buy a 50 grand truck and the year later give it away for 10 grand? Because of lack of maintenance. But I understand that these things have to be replaced, so that's why I'm for this, but it's a hard thing to take to taxpayers. Just throw away
I'm not sure
30
if it's,
37 grand.
I'm not sure that, I don't know if you can all wait on all lack of maintenance, because there's against a point.
Oh, I can, because I see the truck and I saw what happened to
They
it.
were well,
I look
well
at 'em
beyond
too,
their
but-
useful life. I mean, they were.
Right,
well
but only
beyond
get
10
1
years
year
old.
out of it. You pay $47,000 and get rid of it for 37 less than you paid for it 1 year later.
I was
How
shocked.
can you,
I
how
was
can you
shocked.
I
justify
voted
it?
against buying them in the first place, so you're talking to the wrong person on that one.
I couldn't believe we paid that for them. I looked at that. We paid that?
But, like I said, these have to be replaced, and I understand that, so I'd rather do it this way than do a big bond for it.
That ship has sailed at this point, we can thrash over how or why, but
Yeah.
Yep.
it's done, it's
It
done.
is what it is.
Well,
and-
We made the decision when we made it, because of what we had in front of us, so.
Yep.
Yep.
There's not a big market for used plow
No,
trucks
the-
in this part of the world.
You can't find them. That's the trouble. You can't find them, so.
The more I've looked into that, and talked about it, and asked people questions, their plow trucks seem to be unique for several different reasons.
You can't just take a normal dump truck and put a plow on.
Right.
It has to be spec'd for that. So to
Yeah.
find something used means it's either plowed and it's already rusted, full of salt. So it's really a very difficult.
Springs are heavier on one side than the other because of the plows, and there's a lot of difference in.
So, Article 24, see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the Public Works Equipment Bond. And this is payment 3 of 10. Budget Committee has not done a recommendation on this yet because they have not seen it.
But it is what it is.
I was gonna say,
Exactly.
we can't really say no.
You can change it.
See what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for Public Works Building Bond Annual Payment, 3 of 15. Selectmen recommend 91,120. Same thing on this one.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Article 26, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for the Public Works Road Bond Annual Payment, one of 7. Selectmen recommend 172,645, and same thing on this one.
Yeah.
Though this one we are recommending transferring 90,000 out of Public Works capital and raising 82,645. To see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for solid waste. Selectmen and the Budget Committee, the Budget Committee did not make a recommendation on this and may
I do
not.
not believe so, no.
They may not because they're not sure on, and.
This is just the finishing the final payment on the contract we have, right? This-
No, there's half of that, and half of it would, so this is half of the current contract, and this amount is half of the current contract and half of the contract with Pine Tree Waste, which is what?
On the new contract.
On the new contract, which is what we recommended back in Article whatever.
Right.
For the purposes of clarity, would it make sense to have those two articles next to each other?
I think so.
We can do that. The reason why I had put that one early on is because I was figuring we were going to invite Pine Tree and Tice, and I didn't want to have to sit through the whole meeting. But I guess we could move the money one up front too. It doesn't really make a difference.
There's no reason why we couldn't move, because to me, I think it makes sense to have them together.
Yep. Yep. And in the event that the town goes different than what we've said here, or we actually haven't said, that number might change.
Yes, if the town votes to go with the other
Tice, then we just finish.
Contract, then we'll have the
change.
numbers ready to plug in there.
Okay.
So, and then 28, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and or appropriate for telecommunications. Selectmen and Budget Committee both recommend the $53,663 to be transferred from the franchise fees. And Articles 29 through 41 are housekeeping articles that are always in there.
I wanted to note that there were a couple, not 29 and 30 and maybe 31. I've been reading through, no, not 31, 29 and 30, I think. I've been reading through the town meetings manual, and these are new ones that the town meetings manual suggests that you put in there. So I thought I'd see what you guys thought.
Is there, on Article 30, it says what sum of money, is there a particular?
Well, the town meeting manual says that even though you have the money available as overlaid to pay abatements, that there is no permission necessarily to pay the abatements without this.
So do we have to have a sum of money here? Because it says to see what sum of
We
money.
don't know what it is because we don't know what any tax abatements.
This sounds,
just
this
shooting-
sounds very strange, because this is the way it's, I mean,
We can
unless,
take it out.
I mean, I just know, this is the way it's been handled for many, many years. Did they make changes in
They
law?
may have updated things.
So, as far as Article 29, we have an emergency fund and we have a policy on how to use it. I don't see that that's necessary, and I would see that this would be deemed as a way to, some people would see this as a way to get around the policy on the emergency fund.
Okay.
Scratch that one.
And actually 30 would kind of fall under the same realm, wouldn't it?
Well, the only thing with 30 is if it truly, if the state truly said you don't have the authority to pay abatements without this question.
But if they say that we can't, if they vote it down, then are we then prohibited from tax abatements?
Well, I don't see how we can be prohibited from tax abatements, because people have to have a way to challenge if they feel something was done wrong. They have to have a way of challenging. In fact, if we deny the abatement, they can go to the county and try to get the county to overturn that.
Let me look, and I'll send you guys the page
Yeah.
from the manual, so you guys can take a look
So
at it.
I'm kind of hoping that
30 might be out as well.
well, and that on Monday, after the budget meeting Monday, that we can visit this and finalize this on Monday night and get it done so that we can get everything to the printers and so on. But
Finalize it Monday night after the meeting?
so after the budget meeting, we'll have a special meeting to finalize the warrant.
And then once the warrant's printed up, how it's gonna be presented, are we gotta read that and sign off like we usually do?
Yes, we're gonna have to look at it and basically approve the warrant.
Yeah, okay.
31 is bound to be a discussion, as it always is.
And
I was surprised to see how vast the difference is between the levy limit and our actual budget.
Yeah, it's a little big this year.
It's a little big this year.
well, it is, well, is this levy limit down any from previous years? If not, it's always been big, because, I mean, we have a town budget of, close to $3 million.
No, I mean, it's well.
Oh, but
over-
it's the amount, no,
But I realize that you take out what you,
you take out the deductions.
right.
So this year, if our budget passes as is, I have a negative amount of 151,621. So we're over by that amount of money, over the levy limit.
And how is the levy limit determined? What's the calculation they use to determine that?
Well, you really want to know?
Well, I'd kind of like to know, so it doesn't appear to be just some arbitrary number that's chosen out of thin air.
So it's last year's levy limit, which was 973,212, and I can show you all of them. And then it takes our valuation, the new taxable valuation, and the total taxable value, and you figure out the local growth rate, and then there's a state growth rate that they figure for us, and then you add the state and the local growth rate together, and it's one.
And add one to that.
And add one to that, and you multiply that amount. Well, you also have to take into account municipal revenue sharing. And because our municipal revenue sharing actually went up last year, we have to subtract line 11B. So with the growth limit and last year's levy limit, that's our levy limit, but we have to subtract out. Did I get that right? Yeah. Does it make sense? It's a strange calculation, and it's
based on
based on last year's
levy
so-
limit, not last year's taxes, last year's levy limit. So it basically
Right.
So if you're behind to begin with, if you're already over the limit, it just basically perpetuates itself because there's no way to reset.
Actually, last year we collected less than the levy limit, so we didn't actually really need to take the vote in that last year. Kevin had talked to me about the way we did our levy limit, and I had to look into it. And the reason that we had been doing it incorrectly, and the reason being is we vote to increase. So if you're voting to increase the levy limit, then you're permanently increasing it to that limit. So you start at that limit. Does that kind of make sense in a weird way? But if you vote to exceed, then you continue on with the same limit for the next year.
It's kind of like printing money that you don't have anything to back up.
I guess.
That's what it
You're
sounds
welcome
like.
to look through my figuring and my
So did you
worksheets.
determine that it's better to vote to increase rather than to exceed?
I don't think it really matters all that much. Increase basically resets it. So if you collect a certain amount of taxes, then that's what you run off of the next year.
Mm-hmm. And that doesn't look at, one of the things I think that's probably important because I think to just look at the levy limit as just over $1 million with a $3 million budget is that we do have to remind taxpayers that not all of that $3 million is being raised.
Right.
That a substantial amount of that is coming from other places.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount that's actually being raised is
So,
only slightly more.
Sorry, do you want me to go back?
well, I was just trying to figure out where you got that 870-some thousand number as last year's levy. Where,
the 877, that's last year's municipal appropriations minus last year's deductions. And that's for 2015, because we're doing 2016. You're always kind of a year behind.
Right, because I'm looking at last year's raised by real estate and personal tax, property taxation last year was 1.45 million. And I thought that that number should be close to that.
Last year being 2015 or 2016?
2016.
But that
Okay, but this is off of
includes-
2015.
And also, doesn't that include school?
No,
in that
no,
one?
no,
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 no, this is just for the town.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so that's why, I mean, so even if this was 2015, are you saying we increased by $570,000 in 1 year? I don't think so. That's like a 60%.
Well, but remember that was the year that I switched the numbers?
So, oh,
Yeah, but that wouldn't
So-
account for 500.
so that would be 1.7 mil, roughly 1.7 million it would have been then, right?
It was 195,000 was the difference.
Yeah, so 1.7, add $200,000 to that number. So, okay, so now you're talking $400,000 difference, but it's still, okay, so, yeah, we're running behind a year and see, and this is, I guess, one of those, it's one of these questions that always brings up questions, and it would be nice to understand things a little bit better, but
It would.
I don't know that that's necessarily possible on this. Okay, so that's basically covering up the warrant. Anything else on the budget, on budget discussions at this point?
Just we're meeting with the budget committee Monday at 6:30 still.
Yes.
No, but if we'd been kind, we would have let the department heads go before do their reports.
Yeah, I thought about that too halfway through, but whoops, we probably should have done that.
Chief.
Our apologies,
Yep, chief,
gentlemen.
you're up.
Hi, nice.
Hey, Bob, you're up. I see short, it's only 3 on here, I see.
Well, I can do it from right here, huh?
Yep.
I don't have a lot. It's just a hazard mitigation meeting that we had scheduled that was canceled due to a snowstorm, and it's rescheduled for the 9th, March 9th. I will be able to make it. However, I will have to leave by 6:30, but the way they talk, it's only supposed to be an hour and a half long meeting anyhow, so I might miss the last half hour, but that would be the extent of it. Diana got the Form 7 information sent in for the storm. They were looking at possibly requesting a declaration for the period. I can't imagine it's gonna happen for snow and multiple storms and not just based on one major one. Anyways, that information's been forwarded. They'll take a look at us and let us know. Androscoggin County Firefighters Association, I was on there before, just to give you a heads up. It'll start tomorrow night and it'll last through the first part of May. That's all I had to report.
Any questions for the chief? Thank you. Road
Oh,
commission, oh,
Now, this is on your thing that you asked me to read, and I'll throw that out to you later.
okay.
Next.
Road commissioner?
Pass those right. I already gave Jill hers. You'll have a couple too many. Not really a whole lot other than been plowing, and more plowing. I think crews got 100 and something hours last week on average. That's too much.
I talked to Mother Nature, but she didn't
She's
pay
not
much
taking
attention.
your calls.
Saw that sled out back, just kept it coming.
Well, on top of the snow, you have the dry, light snow and then the wind. So you're chasing snowdrifts. It's not like when it stops snowing, you're done. Then you go into phase 2 and you're chasing snowdrifts. So So I've been doing the on-call stuff over the weekend, and was out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, taking care of snow drifts and treating the warm days. Stuff melts, runs down the road, freezes at night. I've been chasing those, salting those for the guys so they don't have to come in. Yeah, during the storm we were dangerously thin on salt. It's not like you used to be able to just call up and order salt and they'd say what day do you want it. Tuesday, okay, it'll be there on Tuesday. Now you got to call up to Chicago, and then it goes into a computer system, and then you don't know where it goes, and you might hear from the salt people in Portland a week later, and then so it's so when they all of a sudden come up with 5 storms in a row, it gets thin. So we came up with some old techniques, spraying the sand with magnesium chloride, switching back and forth to stretch the salt. And we made it through. We made it the last day we got our salt delivery, but we stretched what we had, got to the end. Many roads now are in desperate need of patching. After all those storms, there's holes the size of this weekend, they were just burned beyond. They had too many hours, and so I had to give them a couple of days to recuperate. So that is in the garage. It's going out tomorrow morning.
I think there's some patch up on Boy Hill. You can just reuse the patches that we already patched.
So they're the on-call guys. The part-time guys are coming in the morning to help, so we can go out and get those filled in tomorrow morning. But it'll take us a couple of days. But still working on the 2017 paving plan. Was meeting with all states, but just in the middle of the meeting, we just had to go because of the storm, and I had to go make calls on what to put out, and I just couldn't. We scheduled a meeting, thought I could make it through the meeting, but I just had to call that off. So hoping to hear from DEP regarding the grants for the stream crossing in March, and just ongoing work with the 2017 budget.
A young lady mentioned to me about the hydrant up on the New Gloucester Road down by that pond. It's almost like at the end of the line. She said that they've never missed that, but she says she knows she plowed a lot this week and probably just slipped your mind. She was going to shove it, but she couldn't really tell where it was because there was so much snow on it. I think it's on the left-hand side.
Tell me where this is, because
The New Gloucester Road is the dirt road right across from the Stackpole Road.
Yeah, we
It's
have
down there on the left-hand side. I think there's a pond there with a hydrant in it or something.
Actually on the right-hand side.
Oh, it's on the right-hand side, okay.
Gloucester town line.
Where the beavers were.
It's just past the pond.
Yeah.
They should have got it today.
Okay, then maybe they did. She came into work this morning and saw me and asked me about it, and she said, I'd do it, but I don't even know where. I can't see it, so I don't know where it is. Well, I'm sure that they've just been busy and it slipped their mind, but I'll mention it, so.
I think it got done today. They should all be done. Should all be done today. Accidentally hit one on Brown Road and broke it off, so we've got to talk to the Pownell. It's actually in Pownell, but talk to the fire chief there, and talk to our fire chief, and so they both told me they'll give me a few days to fix it, so.
Yeah.
I think we've got them all. We come up with a list that we've keeping all the trucks now laminated to keep it right in the truck.
Yeah.
So.
Well, she wanted me to know that she wasn't complaining. She just wanted to make sure that,
Yeah.
I said, no, it's not a problem, I understand.
And the curtain, wash bay curtain, I did get the email, I should have put it in here, but it's 13.5. And I can't recommend that at this point. I mean, in my opinion, I think I would want an engineer to sign off on it, because you still have light fixtures. I mean, I know we've never had them in any place I've ever worked. We've had wash bays and we've had lights and we've never worried about it, but nothing's a problem until it's a problem. I mean, if your argument is you can't spray at the wall with electrical outlets, if you're spraying into the ceiling and those lights are all open on top, I mean, if an engineer wants to sign off and say it's fine, then I would be okay with that, but otherwise I couldn't, if they want to certify it safe and it's fine and this is all you need, then, but I don't have the credentials to do that, wouldn't want to take that chance.
Can you not wash them in the big garage outside?
Well, that has light fixtures too, and there's no heat in there.
Oh, okay.
It's unheated, the one up back.
Or drain, there's no drain in there either.
Yeah, I don't think there's any, the front part of it's pitched outside, but there's no, I mean, it's cold out there, that should freeze pretty quick.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, the thought about it is if you're gonna spend 13.5, would we be better off to use the back building and insulate one room and, but then you gotta heat it, so, I guess we'll just.
Well, it's supposed to be 50 tomorrow, so
Yeah.
you're
Well, for the few days a year you get that happens, I mean, I guess we'll have to, for now, we'll work through it and.
Come up with a different plan if we need to move forward with it.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, I did some of that other information, I think I might have run it by Ruth too, so, I mean, like I said, I think we could do something different in the event we really thought we had to, but after you told me that, I said, yeah, well, that's probably not gonna work.
Yeah. No, I think I'd rather address that at a different time.
Anything else for the resolution? All right, thank you. Administrator?
No, I'm good. I put everything in there.
Okay. Upcoming meetings will be held here at the town office Tuesday, March 7th at 6:30 PM, Tuesday, March 21st at 6:30 PM. There'll be a budget committee meeting held here Monday, February 27th at 6:30 PM. And if it's agreeable with all the selectmen, we'll have a special selectmen's meeting immediately following the budget committee meeting on February 27th to finalize the warrant.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I'd like to move that we go into executive session pursuant